4,14,188
India continues to battle the coronavirus.
India's COVID-19 vaccination drive is actually one of the best in the world.
India is seeing several vaccination milestones in a day.
In a major victory in the fight against COVID, India has crossed the 100 crore, that is, the 1 billion vaccination mark. The Health Ministry plans to celebrate this feat with events across the country, paying homage to the fallen COVID warriors and ground-level health workers, and celebrate the ones who continue to play a crucial part in this enormous exercise. Hello and welcome to New India Junction. I am Richa Dwivedi and this is The Bottom Line. India's vaccination story is fascinating and built on 5 main pillars. The first pillar, the science behind the vaccines. When the COVID pandemic started, the world was not prepared of what lay ahead. As the virus spread, fatalities increased, and the medical fraternity was at its wits' end on how to treat the patients and save lives. Creating a vaccine against an unknown viral pathogen was the need of the hour. But to achieve that in less than a year had never been done before. As global pharmaceutical companies raced to make a vaccine, Indian scientists also worked towards the development of a made-in-India vaccine. Home to around 17.7% of the global population, India could not allow the spread of a deadly virus. Taking inspiration from Atmanirbhar Bharat, Indian researchers and scientists undertook a journey that culminated in the creation of 2 vaccines that would save the lives of millions of Indians. By May 2020, ICMR had isolated and sequenced the SARS-CoV-2 virus. It partnered with Bharat Biotech to develop India's first indigenous COVID-19 vaccine named Covaxin. Meanwhile, Serum Institute of India collaborated with AstraZeneca to produce a vaccine developed by the University of Oxford and called it Covishield. Almost immediately, India's drug regulator put the vaccines on various phases of trials, including the final phase of human trials. By end November 2020, Serum Institute was ready with interim phase 3 trial results for Covishield. While by mid-December 2020, Bharat Biotech was also ready with interim phase 3 trial results of Covaxin. Finally, 3rd January 2021 was a momentous day when the 2 made-in-India vaccines were approved for emergency use. The next challenge was to ensure the manufacture of these vaccines on a mass scale. Though a daunting task, the companies took inspiration from the fact that India is already the global leader in vaccine production. India also boasts of one of the largest universal immunization programs in the world. India's unparalleled experience in vaccinating millions against the polio and smallpox viruses is a success story yet to be replicated elsewhere. On 16th January 2021, the Prime Minister launched India's COVID-19 vaccination drive at 10:30 a.m. via video conferencing. Within the first few hours of the first day itself, a total of 3,352 sessions were held and 1,94,610 people got vaccinated. Celebrating the occasion, Prime Minister Modi tweeted, and I quote, "India begins the world's largest vaccination drive. This is a day of pride, a celebration of the prowess of our scientists and the hard work of our medical fraternity, nursing staff, police personnel and sanitation workers. May everyone be healthy and free from illness." That day, his emotions resonated with millions of Indians. The second pillar, Frontline Workers. inoculating all citizens spread across a vast area, settled in the remotest of places, and many times without access to proper medical infrastructure would not have been an easy task. The centre released the COVID-19 vaccines operational guidelines in December 2020. This document described in detail, among other things, the training required for the handling of the vaccines and their transportation into the hands of the health workers waiting eagerly to start the vaccination process. Between the first and third dry runs, the number of personnel trained in various activities increased from just a handful to around 1.7 lakh. That is 0.17 million vaccinators, and 3 lakh, that is 0.3 million vaccination team members spread across the nation. This end-to-end exercise trained officials and healthcare workers on all aspects of vaccination, including mobilization, administering of the vaccine, dealing with adverse effects, and collecting and storing real-time data in the IT platform CoWIN. As the vaccination drive picked up, the frontline and health workers, doctors, nurses, and the police force worked selflessly 24/7 to maintain the momentum. Even during the peak of the second wave, the commitment, the zeal, and the spirit of selfless service of the frontline workers did not diminish, and they carried out the vaccination drive with renewed vigor after the second wave. Social media is full of stories about COVID warriors trekking miles of inhabitable land. No wonder they have repeatedly been called superheroes and emerged as the face of India's fight against COVID. The third pillar, leadership support and encouragement. From the beginning, Prime Minister has recognized universal vaccination as one of the critical pillars of COVID control and management strategy. As early as April 2020 itself, when the world was still struggling with the nature of the vaccine, the Prime Minister was thinking ahead and had constituted a task force to conduct research on COVID vaccines. Administrative processes, bureaucratic approvals, and financial supports were all fast-tracked to support the development of the vaccines. The mantra was that science will take its own time. However, other processes that were in control of the government must not become a hindrance when it comes to vaccines. Accordingly, Rs 900 crore, that is $119 million, was allocated under the COVID Suraksha mission for research and development of an Indian COVID vaccine. The Union Budget 2021-22 made provision of Rs 35,000 crore, that is $4.6 billion, for the vaccination program. In order to instill confidence in the scientists, the Prime Minister himself visited the facilities manufacturing the vaccines. Regular discussions with the states allowed the central government to remove any roadblocks that would otherwise have arisen in the logistics and distribution chain. A detailed plan prioritized the segment of the society most vulnerable to COVID to be vaccinated in the first round.
नमस्कार, नया साल कोविड-19 वैक्सीन के रूप में आशा की नई किरण लेकर आया है। भारत में बनी वैक्सीन सुरक्षित है।
Campaigns were launched to encourage the citizens to step out and take the vaccine shots.
जब से टीका लगाना शुरू किया ना, मैं ताबड़तोड़ जाके टीका लगवा के लेके आई। जिद कर करके मेरे सारे घर वालों को भी टीका लगवाया।
वैक्सीन में ये है, वैक्सीन में वो है, बीमार हो जाओगे। सब झूठ है, बकवास है। अम्मा वैक्सीन है तो जान है, और जान है तो जहान है।
Frontline workers at the grassroots level went from door to door to dispel any misinformation.
मैडम, इसमें कोई खतरा तो नहीं है लगाने में?
इसमें कोई खतरा नहीं है, बिल्कुल भी खतरा नहीं है।
Collect data to update the data bank and encourage people to step out and take the vaccine. Just like the common man, the Prime Minister waited his turn to take the first dose of the coronavirus vaccine on March 1st, 2021. In a strong message urging people to get vaccinated, he tweeted, "Took my first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine at AIIMS. Remarkable how our doctors and scientists have worked in quick time to strengthen the global fight against COVID-19. I appeal to all those who are eligible to take the vaccine. Together, let us make India COVID-19 free." From the day India diagnosed its first case of COVID, the Prime Minister has repeatedly come forward to encourage the frontline warriors and boost morale of the billions of people.
रविवार को शाम को 5 बजे 5 मिनट तक ताली बजा करके, थाली बजा करके, घंटी बजा करके हम उनके प्रति
Messages asking Indians to show solidarity towards the frontline and health workers, or gestures such as switching off lights and lighting diyas to show unity, or showering thousands of health workers with flower petals as a token of appreciation, have been received with great enthusiasm by all Indians. The leadership displayed during the pandemic by Prime Minister Modi has been consistent and unwavering. From the beginning of the pandemic to this momentous feat of achieving the 1 billion inoculation landmark, Prime Minister Modi has displayed empathy when needed, firm resolve when required, foresight and planning when it mattered, and also became a motivator and shoulder of support when required. They say true leadership stands out in times of crisis, and it would not be an exaggeration to assert that Prime Minister Modi has passed this test with commendably. The fourth pillar, logistics and administrative machinery. To inoculate of over 1 billion in record time is a mammoth task. The central government constituted a national task force on vaccine development and drug testing in April 2020. This was made up of members from the Indian Council of Medical Research, Department of Science and Technology, Directorate General of Health Services, and Drug Controller General of India, among others. The purpose of the task force was to monitor the progress in vaccine development and drug trials. Meanwhile, a special task force comprising up to 19 union ministries, 23 departments at the state and district level, and partners from associated fields came together to create the COVID-19 vaccines operational guidelines. The guidelines were released in December 2020 and detailed all aspects of the training of all health functionaries, preparing the beneficiary lists, social mobilizers, vaccine storage, cold storage chain up to the delivery of the vaccine. Following the whole of government approach, the entire government machinery was activated right down to the district and panchayat level to do dry runs. From the moment vaccines would be dispatched from the production facility till they reached the hands of the vaccinator sitting in the remotest part of the country. The government also launched the indigenously developed CoWIN, an end-to-end digital platform created for real-time monitoring of the vaccination process. CoWIN gives equal opportunity to the poor, uneducated, or even those in villages to book a slot for vaccination. Just a simple click of a button and walk up to a center of your choice. Once vaccinated, get an instant digital certificate showing your status. The planning is so complete that for those who may not be digitally literate, the over 3 lakh, that is 0.3 million common service centers perform these activities end-to-end free of cost. A crucial element of vaccination was planning the logistics. Transportation of millions of vaccines from the factory to the field in a controlled environment was essential for this mammoth exercise to be successful. Specialized containers have been prepared by the vaccine manufacturers and suppliers to keep the vaccines at the desired temperatures for 24 hours during transportation. Major part of transporting these containers is being done using commercial airliners. The government is also using the transport aircraft fleet of the Indian Air Force. The Air Force is also providing landing facilities to commercial airliners at the military airfields. It has also made available its exclusive military airfields and advanced landing grounds for transporting the vaccine to the remotest part of the country, including places like Arunachal Pradesh and Ladakh. The Indian Railways handle the next leg of distributing the vaccines to those pockets where air connectivity is not possible. The last leg entails using cold storage trucks to carry the vaccines further inland. Finally, health workers carry vaccines in portable containers into the rural pockets, either on foot or using any mode of transport available. Imagine hundreds of planes flying to multiple airstrips across the country, thousands of kilometers of train travel, and lakhs of kilometers of road travel. This is what it takes for the government to ensure that the vaccines reach even the remotest parts of India every day. In a game changer, ICMR has now launched the first Made in India eye drone to deliver vaccines to the farthest corners of Manipur, Nagaland, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The final pillar, spirit of the people of India. Unlike many democratic nations that have been forced to mandate COVID vaccination, India's fight against the virus has been people-driven and absolutely voluntary. Fondly referred to as Tika Utsav, citizens have collectively come forward to ensure larger participation. Sites are being identified in collaboration with RWAs and community groups. Local health centers, community halls, polling booths, schools, or any facility that offers a room for vaccination and a waiting area have been converted into inoculation centers. Special arrangements are also being made for senior citizens and the physically challenged. As the economy picks up, free vaccination drives are being planned by corporates and PSUs to get the staff back in offices. From the first 10 lakh vaccination in just 6 days to vaccinating more than 1 crore citizens in a single day on August 31st, 2021, India is now setting new records. On September 17th, a new world record was set when more than 2.5 crore, that is 25 million people, were vaccinated to coincide with the Prime Minister's 71st birthday. Every Indian would be proud of today's record vaccination numbers. I acknowledge our doctors, innovators, administrators, nurses, healthcare, and all frontline workers who have toiled to make the vaccination drive a success. Let us keep boosting vaccination to defeat COVID-19, he tweeted. Amid the staggering amount of global suffering, the story of India's vaccination drive stands out. Stories where some are hailed as heroes, warriors, and even saviors are plenty. Every section of the society has contributed in this fight in their own way. The people imbibe the timeless spirit of India's civilizational heritage of coming together as one in times of crisis with the resolve to fight and defeat enemy, in this case, the pandemic. This story of administering 1 billion doses at the fastest pace in any democratic society is a story of India's scientists, the frontline workers, the humongous effort of the logistics supply chain, the voluntary spirit of Indians to come together and get vaccinated, and the story of the entire government machinery led by Prime Minister Modi displaying firm resolve, encouragement, support, and unstinted leadership.